The ultimate tournament of everything.
Welcome to the Ultimate Tournament of Everything, a bracket-style tournament where we pit everything against everything else to figure out which thing is the best thing ever.
That's right. And we're going to be doing so by being lulled to sleep by a special hypnotist who's reading from an encyclopedia. They'll be taking us back to the recesses of our subconscious. What will we find there? What will be our rosebud? That will be moving on to the next round of...
The ultimate tournament of everything.
While that does sound relaxing, enlightening, and very expensive, it is also wrong. We instead will be picking random articles off Wikipedia using a random Wikipedia page generator and figuring out which of those things we'd want to move on in a tournament of everything. And by the way, Rosebud is a sled. So, spoiler alert, 70 years in the making. Spoiler alert. It's like not knowing that, like, the wizard is actually just a guy. Like, by now, you should just know those things. You should just know those things.
Well, you should know that my movie club booked 2 films for tonight, Citizen Kane and The Wizard of Oz, and you've ruined my evening, Rob. You've ruined it. Let's just get straight in to round 1.
Round one.
I do like that round 1 music. In round 1, we have Light, a song by industrial rock band KMFDM against the Minister for Gender Equality of Denmark.
Now, I'm not sure if we're going to find out in this article if the Minister of Gender Equality for Denmark has ever heard of this band or this song, but once we dive in, we might get the answer to that. Let's do so now.
The current Minister of Equality in Denmark is Trine Bramsen. It's spelled Trine, Trine, maybe. She is the incumbent. She's been in the position for 181 days. She is with the Social Democrats, and she is part of the Fredriksson cabinet.
I see that the first Minister for Gender Equality was appointed by the Prime Minister on the 1st of July back in 1999.
They've had this position now for 22 years. Look at that. Now,
22 years, 13 ministers. No, different ministers. Only 2 ministers here for gender equality, I believe. These are kind of, yeah. There's also a Minister of Fishery and Gender Equality. And so there's a few ministers.
That's interesting. So every minister has held this title alongside another title. So that's what it is. That's why we have the Minister of Gender Equality and the Minister of Gender Equality and the Fishery together. The Minister of Food, Fishery, and Gender Equality. It sounds like they've just been consolidating the government into this one person over and over again. Hey, you, what are you in charge of? Gender equality. Can you also be in charge of fishing? I guess. What else? Can you also be in charge of food? Sure. Denmark. I like the efficiency. I really do.
That's a lot to put on one plate. Now, if you want to put a lot of something on a plate and have it not weigh you down too much, you might try Light. The KMFDM song, industrial rock. What exactly does that mean? Who's an industrial rock band?
Well, let's see. Looking at this, industrial rock, an alternative rock genre that fuses industrial music and rock music, started in the 70s, drew influence from early experimental and industrial acts such as Cro-Magnon, that's a name I can't pronounce, and Chrome, a band called Chrome.
Okay.
Yeah. Mainstream
Rockers.
Popularity in the 90s. Bands such as Nine Inch Nails, Rob Zombie, and Marilyn Manson. So there you go. That type of music. Now,
They have had a number of releases as well. Almost prolific.
Yeah, they've been around since the 70s. They had Main Street. Oh, I'm in the wrong thing. Let me go back. They've been around since the 90s. Now, this Light, this song is kind of interesting. Was from their 1993 album Angst. Single was released in 1994. Contains 9 different remixes of the song.
That is a cool way to go about doing it, and I'm sure it saves a little bit of time.
And looking at them, some of these are... There's one called the White Cotton Balls dub, one called the Diet dub, one the Fatback dub, one the Rubber Gloves dub. ranging all the way from 3 minutes and 49 seconds and adding nearly a minute and a half, going to 5:58. So these are songs. Oh, there's even one that's 7.5 minutes long, remixed by 9 Inch Nails.
Okay, so they've got some backing. But you know who else has some backing is the Minister for Gender Equality, backing of the government of Denmark. They're a pretty progressive place, right?
Yeah. I think Denmark's pretty progressive. I mean, they have a minister for equality.
Yeah. Do we have a Minister of Equality?
We don't really have ministers. So, I mean, there's probably somebody in the government who has a similar position, but I don't think it's a cabinet position.
Do we have the Governor of Gender Equality and Fishery?
No. And I'm trying to figure out which of the 50 governors that would be. It's a tough one.
Something for us to aspire to. But
gender equality or fishing?
Well, gender equality. But in that same vein, I believe that as we continue to evolve as people, we will continue to evolve as a species, eventually beyond our physical state, becoming beings of pure energy. One might say that it would be represented as light. And that's why I am choosing the song by KMFDM to move on to the next round of
The ultimate tournament of everything.
Well, I was really on Team Minister for Gender Equality a second ago. I get started thinking about if they really think it's so important, why do they keep adding duties to this person's role? Is the government of Denmark just very efficient? Do they just always have to share? Why do they not think it's important enough to give this lady more full-time work? It's kind of unfair.
Absolutely. Whereas KMFDM, they did one song, gave it one job, and they had 9 different versions of it. They let it specialize, and that's what makes that band great, in my opinion, having never heard them.
We're definitely going to get hate mail, but it'll be in Danish, and I won't be able to read it. So let's move Light on.
Light by KMFDM song. You're moving on to the next round of
The ultimate tournament of everything.
My dumb American is clearly showing in that because I don't know what language it actually be writing me in, and I just said Danish like the thing you get at the grocery store. I'm just being dumb, stupid, and from the Midwest. So whatever it is, Denmark, I'm sorry. I'm sure it's great.
I think you were good. That's what I thought until the donut thing.
Yeah, that probably made it worse.
Let's put it in our past and go to round 2.
It's time for round 2.
In round 2, we have Premadalika Mepetagama against Trudine.
Trudine against Premadalika. It's gonna be exciting. Let's see who these contestants are.
Premadalika Mepetagama, guys, you're gonna have to Google it. I'm not even gonna try and spell it, but I definitely can't pronounce it. Senior Sri Lankan civil servant, author, and a publisher. As the secretary to President J.R. Jahewardene, I think that was close, Mapatagama was one of the highest-ranking public servants in the government of Sri Lanka.
Born in 1930, eldest son of his father, who is named here. He and his wife had 2 children, and he entered, let's see here, the Ceylon Administration Service in 1968. Functioned as Assistant Secretary of Ministry of Defense and External Affairs, so high-ranking official, cabinet positions, and yeah, a number of senior positions.
Looks like he's done a lot of interesting things. He's even written a couple books, been writing since a very young age, and one of his books is a supplementary reader for schools. So can you imagine being the guy who writes a book that all of a sudden every 4th grader is going to read? That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. And be like, I mean, in where are we? Where we said India?
Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka. So in Sri Lanka, they're giving their children books like this. I'm pretty sure I was reading Dr. Seuss when I was in school.
In 4th grade?
The whole time.
Oh.
I pretty much exclusively read Dr. Seuss all the way through college.
That explains a lot. Let's talk about Trudine. Trudine is a village, community, and electoral ward in Flintshire, Wales, located just off the A5 104 road.
Okay. Let's see here. Located within Flintshire. It has its own church, St. Mary's, and there are 2 active chapels in the village. There's a 3rd, but it's closed. There are many Bronze Age cairns in that area.
That's interesting. What is that?
A cairn, I believe, is like, now I could be wrong, but I think that's like a construction of rocks or something to signify special place.
Oh, cairn. A cairn.
Cairn? Cairn?
I think it's cairn. Yeah, no, that's tricky because it's got that I in there. Man-made pile of stones raised for a purpose, usually a marker.
Hey, there we go. Don't know much, but I guess I kind of sort of knew that.
It was an industrial area during the 19th and 20th centuries, mining of coal, iron, and lead. There was a distillery to extract oil from the coal and a blast furnace. In 1834, around 450 men were constantly employed in that and other industries,
including one individual that it would elect as county councilor to the Flintshire County Council.
Now, this seems like a lovely place to visit, but I don't know if it's got the weight or the work ethic of our friend Premtalaka.
Very significant, influential person, director, secretary, and minister of all sorts of things. I mean, look, on Wednesday, 18th April 2012, his casket was driven in a motorcade by a hearse. Is there a whole big ceremony? I don't know. It doesn't say, but probably. Yeah, he was put in a place for diplomats, public figures, dignitaries, and the general public to pay their respect.
He sounds like a pretty important dude. Sounds like he's done some really great things. I think he deserves to move on.
You're laying it down for him to move on to the next round?
Absolutely.
The ultimate tournament junk ever.
All right. Well, he is a, as we say, heavy hitter. Looking at this town, I think it's lovely. I think I'd want to go there, but I also think that they don't mandate that people read about it in schools. That's why we've never heard of it until now, but that's also why Primitilaka Mapetigama, you're moving on to the next round of
The ultimate tournament junk ever.
Let's get into round 3. I cannot wait.
Are you excited?
I'm very excited. I've been waiting for round 3. This match has really been out there in the universe, waiting for me to see it till 10 seconds ago, and I want to talk about it now.
Here it comes.
It's time for round 3.
In round 3, we have Brennelis Parish Close against Gary Breen.
Ooh, Gary Breen. Now, he was one that many expected to win last season in the Tournament of Everything, but had that unfortunate event that I'm sure we all remember. Let's see if those words come to bite me in the foot as we learn who, in fact, these two competitors are.
Brennelis Parish Close, comprising the Église Notre Dame and Calvary, sculpted by Roland Douar, sculptor, is located in the arrondissement of Châteaulin in Finestre in Brittany in northwestern France. Looks like it is a church.
Well, the name Brennelis is made up of 2 Brenton words. Bren means hill, and Elise means a church. Brennelis stands at the foot of Brasparts Mont Saint-Michel in Montdéry.
That's some great French right there. It's a niche with shuttered doors. There's a processional cross. There's an altarpiece of the main altar. There's some really great stonework done here.
You know what this really looks like is, here's another spoiler for this episode. At the end of the Da Vinci Code, when they find that small little church and they go in there, it kind of looks like that. It kind of looks like a church that, you'd never expect to find the Holy Grail in, but there it sits awaiting.
You know where you also don't expect to find the Holy Grail? In the life of Gary Breen. How's that for a segue for you? Gary Patrick Breen, born December 12th, 1973, former footballer. We're talking about the soccer kind, not the oblong pigskin kind. Made more than 500 appearances in the Football League and the Premier League. He was a center back, played for numerous clubs over a 20-year career. He won 63 caps for the Republic of Ireland, played in the 2002 FIFA World Cup, scoring in Ireland's 3-0 victory over Saudi Arabia.
Wow. Yeah, so he's really risen up. Born in Hendon, London, began his professional career as a youth player, never made a first-team appearance for that first club. He moved to Maidstone United, played his first game. After a season, joined a different club where he became a first-team regular and was making some pretty sweet cheddar at that point.
Wait, they pay him in cheese?
Yeah, I think that little... Nope, that would be, I believe, is that euro?
Maybe a pound then? Maybe a euro now?
Probably a difference. We'll find out about that in a different round. But in the meantime, let's continue digging into Gary Breen time.
He made the Wolves club captain in the 2007 and 8 season, but ended up missing several months through an injury. He was involved in an after-match confrontation with his manager. Ooh. The suspense.
But it must not have been too bad because later in that year, he joined a different team as a player coach. So they figured he would just punch himself, I'd imagine.
Looks like he was also appointed first-team coach of Peterborough United in June 2013. That is about the last we have information for of him. Now, the question is, would I rather a church with beautiful architecture move on, or would I rather a decent footballer move on? Because footballers do show up pretty well to this tournament.
They do. They travel well. They have really good, they can run a long time, good shape. Footwork is impeccable. But it's the stonework that's catching my eye. Aged and weathered as only a really cute looking church in France can probably do. So I think I'm going with the Brennelis Parish Close.
I think I'm going to agree with you. I think this place is historic. It's been around for a long, long time, right? This has been around since at least the 1400s. And Gary Breen's only been around since 1973.
Yeah. Wow. Brennelis Parish Close, they have a beautiful processional cross dating back to 1650. Gary Breen, he can keep on kicking, but I think I'll be sticking with the church in France. What do you say, Rob?
Oh, absolutely. We could talk about it all day. Ain't going to change it. The church moves on.
The church moves on.
The ultimate tournament of everything.
You know what time it is?
It's time for round 4.
My round 4 is ready.
How many phones did you put in the microwave to get that sound effect?
It took me about 3, and then I just stapled it to the outside, and that worked a lot better.
Yeah, no, that's smart. That's smart. In round 4, we have Hari Shankar Srivastava, an Indian historian, against Noor-e-Zindagi, a Pakistani drama serial that first aired on Geo Entertainment in 2016.
Okay. The turmoil of opposite nature marriages and a woman's noble struggle to save her marriage is explained with responsibility in that serial.
What is an opposite nature marriage? Like a werewolf and a vampire? I'm kind of confused. That's a term I've not heard before.
Let's
Opposite
see.
nature.
The name of the show translates to Light of Life. So this is like a
it's like a Hallmark series?
Yeah, a soap opera of sorts.
Okay. Like Pakistani soap opera?
Yeah.
Okay.
Original soundtrack is composed and sung by Suja Nider and Rosemary. And you can get that song on Patari.
In 2017, it won an award. Aisha Khan won Best Television Actress.
Okay, yeah, nominated for a bunch of them. So it must have been a pretty decent show. Let's see what Hari Shankar Srivastava has to show us.
He's an Indian historian educated at Ewing Christian College in Allahabad. There we go. He's a fellow of the Royal Asiatic Society, fellow of the Institute of Historical Studies in Calcutta, was the first chairperson of Political Science Department, Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gorakhpur University. I really need to learn more than just English. Looks like he's done some pretty important things studying political geography. Looks like he's a real smart dude.
Professor, universities, best known for his work on the Mughal culture. His books have been included in the syllabi of various state universities for the subject. So again, people teaching the experts, the expert of the experts.
That's nice to be the expert of the experts. He seems like somebody I would definitely like to talk to, but also I'd feel dumber after having that conversation, but in a good way. Not like dumber like you hear someone try to explain why mayonnaise is better than Miracle Whip, but dumber is in like you realize how much they know and realize you know so very little.
Those are great moments, though. And those are the moments that we have as we dive into all of these various unknown subjects here on the Tournament of Everything. So, having met our competitors, how are we feeling?
Well, we know that soap operas tend to do very well, right? They really put in the miles. They show up early. They stay late. They have a roaring fandom. I always have a soft spot on my heart for experts teaching experts. Because without it, we just lose a bunch of knowledge, right? If he didn't teach anybody, everything he learned, everything he accomplished, everything he's set out to do could just vanish on the date of his death. So the fact that he gets to live through these people, that he gets to continue his work through them, that's always going to win for me. So Hari Shankar Srivastava, I think he moves on.
The ultimate tournament of everything.
Stamped it. Well, I don't really have to look too hard to agree with you. Even his grandson is a published author, wrote the books Life Sutra, Freedom Mantra, and Being Zero. And I think that tells me that, that's his grandson. He raised him right to raise him right, teaching him to teach and living to move on to the next round of
the ultimate tournament of everything.
The things we learn.
So much. Round 5.
Round 5. In round 5, we have Nirmal Kumar Verma, former senior naval officer, served as the chief of the naval staff of the Indian Navy, against John Vernon Henry, an American lawyer and politician.
Okay. Let's see. His picture here makes him look like an ancient Greek lord. But apparently he was born in 1767. The the son of Robert and Elizabeth Verner Henry, and Federalist member of the New York State Assembly.
He was a delegate to the New York State Constitutional Convention of 1801, married to Charlotte Seton, whose sister was married to his brother. He died of apoplexy in 1829 and is buried at Albany Rural Cemetery in Menands, New York.
Okay. New York State Comptroller.
The fact that I don't know what a comptroller does, I think it's a budget thing, but I'm not quite
Well,
sure.
It's an elected position, at least we know that. And he only held the role from 1800 to 1801, so he may not have known very well what the job was either.
But you know who did know what they were doing? Nirmal Kumar Verma.
Yeah, he definitely had command of his faculties.
Born on November 14th, 1950, joined the Indian Navy at the age of 19.
In the Navy.
He even studied at the Naval War College in the United States.
During his career, awarded several decorations, including the Param Vishisht Seva Medal and the Ati Vishisht Seva Medal. And a whole bunch of others down here.
Yeah, a lot of medals. Actually, there's a picture of him on Wikipedia where he's got so many medals, and he's got his arm down to one side. I think he's holding the hilt of a sword. He's holding a sword, but I'd like to think that he's actually just trying to hold up all those medals. He's got to have like 15 pinned to him in this picture.
Yeah, he looks like one of those Olympians who just goes and cleans up. Definitely did a bunch of things that people were very proud of him for doing. They don't list those things, though, really.
No. He was the 24th High Commissioner of India to Canada, the 51st Chairman of the Chiefs of Staff Committee, the 20th Chief of the Naval Staff. Born, like I said, 1950. His brother is Vice Admiral Birmal Verma, and he served the Indian Navy from 1970 to 2012. That's a lot more than John Vernon Henry ever did.
And he's still doing it. He's currently a CNO Distinguished International Fellow at the U.S. Naval War College.
Well, I don't know about you, but I think I've heard enough.
Yep. I think we can pretty much lay this one down for John Vernon Henry. You don't have enough going on to take on the naval wits of the guy that sits in the winning circle in this round, Nirmal Kumar Verma. You're moving on to the next round of
The ultimate tournament jump.
Every once in a while, you go to a game that you know the outcome by halftime. This was one of those days.
Yeah, I mean, if I showed up to face off just in a general competition of worthiness against somebody who rolled up with so many medals that they needed a brace to hold themselves up, I too would feel not super confident. Let's see if the competitors are a little more closely matched in round 6.
We can turn around and sturdy. He comes from my side. And there you have it. There is your winner. Round 6.
In round 6, we have Shields, an unincorporated community in Accomack County, Virginia, against Wigan Warriors, the professional rugby league in Wigan in Greater Manchester, England.
Okay. Very exciting. Shields, you say. Accomack County, you say. Unincorporated, you say. And looking at this page, that's about all that there is to say.
That's all we know. I've read the whole sentence. That's the entire Wikipedia page. I could take it out to the Google machine, and you know what? Let's do that to give it a fighting chance. Mike, I'm going to take it out to the Google machine. Can you tell the people about the Wigan Warriors?
Well, I could try, but there's a lot to say. They are professional rugby league. They're in the professional rugby league. They are a professional rugby league. I guess they make up. They compete in the Super League. There we go. Rugby probably has a whole bunch of different peculiarities in how they work than we're even familiar with. But they're big time. They've got an enormous stadium that I see here presently, full of people going back to the beginning of their roots. Looks like on November 21st, 1872, it was founded by members of the Wigan Cricket Club. So apparently they decided that cricket was not the way to go and transferred on over to rugby.
One of these days, we will have to actually get rugby on the show so we can learn the rules of rugby. Cricket, too. That'd be a great match. Rugby versus cricket, but just the rules. Not the sports, just the rules.
I'd love to get them on as guests, as a matter of fact. I think they both have a lot to say, and to just get them both in the same room, I think it'd just be electric.
Now, my search to the interwebs, the greater interwebs outside of Wikipedia, did not yield anything really to tell me about Shields in Accomack County, Virginia. So knowing that, what do they have to hide? Why are they so secretive? What are you hiding, Shields? You even named yourself Shields. It's something you hide behind. What are you hiding?
Yeah, I think the whole thing is just a little bit fishy.
And you know what? Cheaters never prosper. And you can't move forward hiding behind a shield. I think the Wigan Warriors have this one in the bag, unless there's something in here that is going to ruin it for them. Are they going to fumble on the 1 yard line? What's the equivalent of that in rugby? Are they going to drop the ball and then sort of kick it through the whatever? I don't know the rules, okay? I don't know the rules.
I don't either. But you know what's interesting? As I look down here, digging into the Wigan Warriors, I see a picture of Wigan's 2020 signing, their new player, big deal, Jake Bibby, and he was celebrating in this image with that season's League Leaders Shield, which is awarded to the team finishing the season top of Super League in the sport of rugby. So that means that this team was so good that they got their own shield, and shield can hardly hold itself up on a Wikipedia page. So I am definitely sold. I'm going with the Wigan Warriors. What do you say, Rob?
I cannot believe that we have a small unincorporated town named Shields against a group that wins Shields on the regular.
That's all they do. All they do is win. Crimson and win. That's it in Wigan.
You know what? They're doing it again. Even today, they win. They move on. Shields, get your stuff together.
Yeah, what are you hiding? Come out to a rugby game and see some true champions in the next round of
The ultimate tournament of ever.
I feel like that town wishes it could be won by the Wigan Warriors. Come on, guys. That's cool. That worked out well.
Go Warriors.
Let's go to round 7.
Round 7.
In round 7, we have the list of Royal New Zealand Navy bases against boxing at the 2006 Asian Games, specifically the men's 57 kilogram.
Holy cow. I didn't see this one coming. I got to tell you, I'm totally taken by surprise here.
I'd almost say it's some heavy hitters against some other heavy hitters, but I don't know how much 57 kilograms is. So, I don't know. No clue.
Well, I don't know how many Royal New Zealand Navy bases there are either on this list. So, let's dive in.
There's kind of a lot, actually. There's a lot. Go New Zealand. Great job. Look at all your naval bases.
That's a lot. We got some in Yeah, Clyde Quay, Wellington, Solomon Islands, Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch, Wellington, Devonport, Wellington. Bunch of places that you can find naval bases.
Now, this is interesting. The administrative structures that work for a ship work just as well for a land establishment. And the commander of the ship can become the commander of a land establishment and be entirely comfortable with the way the place is run. So not only are you in charge of your ship, you're in charge of the place your ship goes, I guess.
It's like it's its own island, and anything that it touches becomes it.
Yeah, New Zealand, not Australia. Hashtag not Australia. Come on, people. It's a different place.
Some of these bases, though, a lot of them are training bases. It looks like most of them are training bases. They've got some flotillas. They've got some radio intercept stations. They've got all of that going on. But you can't, what you got to do if you're a naval base is have a good offense and a good defense. And that's exactly what you have to do if you're going to be boxing at 57 kilograms. You got to keep them up. Okay, so this event took place in 2006, and looks like it was won by an individual named Bahodirjan Sultanov of Uzbekistan.
Yeah, Uzbekistan. And you know what? It wasn't even particularly close. The match did go to score 37-23. And I did find out 57 kilograms is about 125 pounds.
Still pretty light, guys. I don't know how scoring works in boxing. Does that mean that one guy hit the other guy 37 times?
I don't think it goes just by punches. I think they kind of score the rounds. I don't know exactly how that works either. And the Rocky movies weren't very clear, right? I just know that Rocky gets punched in the face a lot and still wins most of the time.
Maybe you get 2 for for punching him in the face.
Maybe that's it. And then 1 for the midsection, and then if you graze him, it's a half a point. I don't know. We'll find out in another round.
But yeah, it looks like there was a lot of punching and fighting going on. Possibly some blood. Maybe some towels thrown in there. But definitely in the end, there was a champion. And there were even more not champions.
Well, and actually, this is kind of interesting. So in that final match that went to a score, Bahaduran, all his previous matches were stopped by the ref. So he was just that overwhelming to these people. He was so good that they had to stop the fight early. But Kim Song-guk put up a fight here to still lose by 14.
Wow. He stood in there. He literally took it on the chin and was able to get to the final bell. Let's see if its competitor, the list of Royal New Zealand Navy bases, gave it one more look to see if it can go all the way.
See, I don't think this list of Royal New Zealand Navy bases has enough left in the tank to compete. Because boxers. Boxing competitions. They got legs. They put in rope work. They are just endurance athletes, really, who get punched in the face over and over again, but do it for a long time. I don't see that happening here. I don't think these lists of Royal Navy bases. Matter of fact, one of them was even renamed. Wellington was renamed to Wakefield. It couldn't even last from when it started in 1948 till now.
So are you willing to throw down your stamp?
Absolutely. I'm going to give it to boxing at the 2006 Asian Games.
Well, you were talking about it having legs, but if you're so focused on their legs, why are they only using their hands? I think they'd be a lot more efficient if they kicked too. And I think that some of those people who couldn't, make it through a whole fight with that guy could probably have learned a lesson from a kicker. And I bet you that any one of these Royal New Zealand Navy bases would be happy to kick you if you were in a fight with them. So that's why I'm choosing them as my selection to move on to
the ultimate tournament of ever.
Well, you know what that means? We need to have this guy fight one of those ships. That's the only way to settle this.
Yeah, I think that's fair. He took out those other ones pretty well, so you should be up for it.
Let's instead do it the normal way.
Okay.
The normal way, for those of you listening at home, is we're going to pick a number randomly, each of us, and then Google will pick a different number between 1 and 1,000. Person closest wins for their respective competitor. I'm team boxing at the 2006 Asian Games. Mike is team list of Royal New Zealand Navy bases.
That's right. And so I'm going to take one of the first rules of war, which is know your enemy. And I know that your competitors weighed approximately 120 pounds. And so that's why I'm going with 120 as my number.
And I'm going to go with it in kilograms, 57. Let's see what it comes out to. 982.
Okay, by the skin of your teeth, list of Royal New Zealand Navy bases, you're punching up to the next round of the ultimate tournament of everything.
The ultimate tournament of everything.
Let's jump right into round 8. No need to leave the people waiting.
I say, would you by chance have any round 8?
In round 8, we have La Fonda on the Plaza, a historical luxury hotel in Santa Fe, against Yaha Petra of Kalantan, who is the 6th Yang Dai Pertuan Agong / King in English of Malaysia.
Okay, yes. Now this is the meat and potatoes, the mac and the cheese, the peanut butter and the peanut butter of what this competition is all about. I love to see this type of classic bout come up across our scorecards. So why don't we ring that bell and see what happens?
From what I can tell, La Fonda on the Plaza, historical luxury hotel located at 100 East San Francisco Street and Old Santa Fe Trail in downtown Santa Fe, New Mexico, adjacent to the plaza. La Fonda simply means the inn in Spanish, but the hotel has been described as the Grand Dame of Santa Fe's hotels.
Okay, so yeah, it's on the plaza. It houses many shops and galleries. In 1930s, it was home to the Harvey newsstand. Today, in addition to numerous boutiques, it boasts that newsstand and the Senor Murphy coffee maker, candy maker, even better. Restaurants, bars.
It's
music.
been the location of various inns since 1609.
Wow. So this goes way back. We're looking at an historic hotel.
Absolutely. After its auspicious launch, the hotel closed temporarily in the 20s. It was purchased in 1925 by the Santa Fe Railway. The new owners commissioned local muralists, to paint the interior walls, beginning La Fonda's long-standing support of the local visual arts. Love that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of auspicious launches, I think we should go back and discuss Yahya Petra of Kelantan. He was born at 4 p.m. on Monday, the 10th of December in 1917. He was the second son of a sultan who reigned from 1944 to 1960 by his third wife. So he was born right into royalty, it would seem.
Oh, that's interesting. There's even a succession dispute for Kalantan. Looks like one of the brothers appointed heir apparent with the title of Raja Muda. However, due to a conflict with his father, he was dismissed from the post and removed from the line of succession by his father's decree. Oh.
Wow.
Interesting. He is both a king and a sultan.
Yes, and he became sultan a day after his father's death in 1960, crowned in 1961 at Istana Balai Besar in Kota Baru.
Died of an apparent heart attack at 3:45 at the National Palace on March 29th, 1979. They're very specific with the times here.
I really, really like that. We were hard pressed to get times in that 100-meter dash in the previous round.
Mm-hmm.
This is quite impressive. I hope future articles will be so thorough.
His family life, he was married. He was styled Raja II. Her stepmother-in-law was Raja I. Looks like they had one son, 6 daughters. However, their 2 daughters passed away when they were young. He also married another lady who gave him a son. Now, I think they mean like she gave birth to a son and not like she just found a boy and gave it to him. You know, like a little bow on and said, "This is for you. I found him." I don't think it's like that.
It's unclear. But if you want a place where your children will not get stolen, I suggest you vacation at the beautiful La Fonda on the Plaza in Old Santa Fe. Now that's kind of, if I remember correctly, like the cool part, like the nice part of Santa Fe. I'm sure it's all nice, but like a downtown-y kind of area, lots to do. It's where you want to stay if you're going to go down there.
It's where you want to stay if you go to Santa Fe.
Hey, but do you know the way?
I actually don't. I'd have to probably Google map it. But I think just because of its cultural tradition, because of its love for the arts, because it is still an important building today, I'm going with La Fonda on the Plaza.
La Fonda on the Plaza, we're awfully fonda of you. And that's why you're moving on to the next round.
The ultimate tournament jump.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yep. I feel really good about that one. I don't know too much about this other guy. Didn't really say a whole lot. It didn't look like everything went super smooth for him, but I want to get on that Plaza.
You know what it's about time for?
It's about time for round 9.
Round 9.
In round 9, we have Folivore against Beautiful Road.
Now, we have had a number of beautiful roads, but none so, well, I guess we'll have to find out if it's arrogance or confidence in this next round. Let's jump on in.
It's actually neither. It is singer Kate Taylor's 4th album. You can't drive on this one.
It's true. If you did, you would ruin it.
Released in 2013, after Taylor's previous album, 1979's It's In There, failed to reach the public, Taylor took a break from music for 2 decades, during which time she appeared sporadically as a performer and backup singer. The album contained new material and not the primarily covers of her previous work, and most of the songs were written by her husband. Huh.
Okay, so she did it. She stopped doing it, but she never stopped doing it. You know, she kept it up. She kept sharp, and she kept that dream. And, you know, even though it was, 2 decades off, what's that matter?
Hey, when you're talented, you're talented. And that means you can take a break, you can do other things, and you can jump right back into it when you're ready. Now, a folivore, this one, I think this one is going to be really close, much closer than we'd think. Once especially we learn what a folivore actually is.
Wow. So a folivore is a herbivore that specializes in eating leaves. Okay. Mature leaves are really good for you, but they also often have toxic compounds, and they're hard to digest. So these creatures have long digestive tracts and slow metabolisms. I see that elephants are an example of a mammalian folivore.
Yeah, there are even some primates, and folivores tend to like the younger leaves, which tend to be easier to chew, tend to be higher in energy, and lower in fiber. Lower in fiber and poisons. There we go. Yeah, that's the important part. Yes, they might have less fiber, but they're also less poisonous. Way to bury the lead, Wikipedia.
I too like my food with less poison. Am I a folivore?
Oh, maybe. Oh, this is interesting. It has been observed that folivore is extremely rare among flying vertebrates. They attribute this to the fact that leaves are heavy, slow to digest, and contain very little energy relative to other foods. So there are not many folivorous birds. There are, however, a couple. So not a lot, just a few. Even some bats. I didn't know bats ate leaves.
And flying insects. Primates.
Everyone's favorite folivore, the sloth.
Oh, most definitely. A howler monkey? That's fun. So are we saying that this category is all of those animals combined?
Yeah, anything that is a folivore. And I should have stopped scrolling the Wikipedia article to give Beautiful Road a chance, but I can't anymore. Because at the bottom of this Wikipedia article, they have an Okapi. And if you haven't seen an Okapi before, an Okapi is a wonderful animal to actually behold. And for the longest time, people who were describing it were just drunk and making up wrong animals. It's like, no, there's not anything with like the neck of a giraffe and the legs of a zebra and the body of a horse. It doesn't exist. Well, guess what? It does.
I've never seen this animal. It looks like it's the Mr. Potato Head of the jungle. It's pretty silly. I'm glad it exists. You know what else I'm glad exists? Beautiful Road by Kate Taylor. It's got some song titles here that I think kind of shed light on maybe what the spirit of this album was. The very first track, I Will Fly. And then it goes on to Beautiful Road, Blue Tin Suitcase, The Golden Key, Rain on the Water, Flying in the Face of Mr. Blue. I think these all sound, very lovely, very enlightening, uplifting, and probably a joy to behold.
They may sound great, but they can't eat leaves. I'm not changing my vote.
Yeah. Beautiful Road. I don't think you could digest leaves nearly as well as any number of animals made up of any number of other animals. So I'm going to have to agree with you, Rob, and lay down a shared vote for them.
We can share a
I'm
vote.
looking for affirmative.
We can share a vote. I agree. Let's move them on.
Double time.
The ultimate tournament jump.
Thank you for listening. It's always fun when we can share random things we just learned with people who are just learning them as well. Mike, you got anything to say to the people?
I sure do. If you think that you have something to teach us, then you're probably right. And we'll probably learn it eventually. But in the meantime, if you want to tell us, feel free to try. And if you want to send us a sweet blast, you can do so through Anchor FM. And you can also do so by screaming into a bottle, throwing it into the ocean, and saying a wish.
We will open all the bottles we get sent in the mail.
I definitely will.
Take us
That being
out.
said, we're going to move on to see you next week in the next round of
The ultimate tournament jump.